everybody. Welcome to DynamicsCon. First of all, I would thank each one of you for voting for this session. And secondly, thank DynamicsCon for giving me this opportunity to speak as a speaker for the first time and to connect myself with this great community. And to introduce myself, my name is Tanya Kharbanda. I am a business central consultant in Meta Option LLC. I'm associated with Business Central from 2.5 years, and from there I have been started my career. To know about that, in my initial career, I was into reporting, and today this session is all about reporting, report extensions. So, yeah, I hope this session is helpful to you guys. And in this session, I would be sharing my thoughts over how report extensions have been recently introduced in nav in Business Central. Yes, we will be covering more of it in the agenda. So the first agenda for today would be reporting until BC 18. That includes that what we used to follow, how we used to create reports in Business Central from then until now, till version 18, how we used to create it. Second, the challenges. What were the challenges we used to follow? We used to have challenges which were very tedious, very time consuming. And yes, the third point would be report extension in Business Central 18.1. So this has been recently introduced by Microsoft, and yes, this let's I'll be exploring about which I have recently what all these 5 points which Microsoft has recently rolled out. Fourth would be limitations of the report extensions. These report extensions, I would say, yes, there are limitations. We would be exploring that too. And fifth point, which is the best point I have summarized in one go, would be things to remember. So yeah, let's get into it. Reporting process until BC version 18. So as we know what reports are, how we use the reports. We use reports to structure and summarize the information to print documents such as invoices, which are the major things any company, any organization would want. Reports can also be used to process data without printing or displaying content. For example, we use a report to automate updating all the prices in an item list. So here comes where a reporting basically is a two-phase process, right? One, it includes how we create the data set. The data set basically means how we create the report object. The database determines the data that is extracted or calculated from Business Central databases tables, and that can be used in reports. And the second part of it, we create the layout. By the layout and the design, we usually means we design the visual of a report. There are two types of reports in Business Central. There is RDLC layout, and then we have the Word layout. On the right hand side of the slide deck, I have mentioned this whole architecture with reports is report in reporting we follow. So we have report properties, we have report triggers, we have data items, and each data items comprises of report triggers and columns again. And then we have labels, request pages. These request pages, I must say, these request pages are very much helpful to filter out the data items. These again have the properties, triggers, controls, and then we have the RDLC data. So this is basically what a report is comprised of in Business Central. And then I would like to also, obviously, no partner, no client would want reporting just out of the box, right? We need customization in our in our daily needs. That is basically a daily need. So that customization as a developer, if you ask me, that is a bigger task, be it a small change, be it a large change in Business Central. And what customization includes basically is we create the report object in AL, we copy everything, we copy the columns, we copy the data item, and then we design the standard reports. We make changes to our data set, and then ultimately we change to a layout. So this is a long process which we were following until now for Business Central. But yet again, I would also mention the challenges. The challenges we were having until now, which I have also mentioned, was firstly I just spoke about that we need to branch. We used to branch any report was required for modification. And for obviously for a developer point, that included data items, data new columns, and changes the design, which again was time consuming. And obviously the major point which comes into picture, that's one pain point, and primarily pain point would be the cost and the maintenance burden for even a small change we follow. For there is a cost behind that. So these are the changes which I faced, or obviously each one of us as a developer has faced. On the right top of my slide deck, I have mentioned, and I would thank this person, Dilanka Hivage, whose idea was thoroughly accepted and appreciated by Microsoft, which here that speaks about that we should include report extensions, right? And yes, this was again which was basically this idea, the whole idea was voted mostly in the BC ideas side, which talked about the report extension. So yeah, I would really thank this person and also Microsoft for appreciating the feedback, right? So we have the challenges now, and then again finally I'll be talking about the report extensions. So the report extensions, which has been recently introduced in Business Central. So we mean with report extensibility, a new report extension object is created, which adds new fields to the dataset and also new layout. We can now extend both documents type, which is the visual reporting, as well as the processing report. With the introduction of report extension, we have two approaches, which I would like to mention. Obviously, the first approach, which was earlier, was that we used to have the event-based substitution of the reports. So let's see how the substitution helped us in this scenario. The first approach is all about the substitution method, where it allows you to overwrite the base report with your customized version by subscribing to the on after substitute report event published in the report management, where I have used a method and subscribe it to the on after substitute event, which is shown in the code here. The on What does basically the on after substitute report does? It replaces the report with the specified ID, which is given here in as a parameter, and then it gets substituted with the new one, which is I have used the my new customer 10 list. When the on after substitute report event is raised, the subscriber method is called and the substitution takes place. This is basically the first approach also has been taken care in the previous versions. The second approach, which I would be thankful to Microsoft that they have rolled out in version 18.1, is the report extensions. So this report extension, you can extend the reports by five major things which they have recently added in their release plan, which is adding columns to the existing data items, adding new data items, adding trigger implementations, adding to the request pages, and adding to a new report layout to reflect the new fields that were added in the extensions. So I believe working with report extension for me has been great from then to now if I compare. So without wasting any time much more, I would switch myself to the demo itself. So yeah. To start with my demo, I will be demonstrating here with starting as the report syntax. Basically, for the report syntax is usually similar as the page extension and the table extension. Here we have the report ID, we have the report name, and obviously the report which needs to get extended. And to be the thumb rule here is when I am extending this report extension, which Business Central has recently introduced in my app.json file, there's a runtime version which needs to be set to the higher version, or basically what the version after they have released in 18.1, which basically is 7.0, 7.1, and the 2. So the highest version would I am choosing here is 7.2. And then if I go back to my report, yeah, So here the data set, if I talk about, comprises of the add operations. So the add operations, basically we have add operations, we have add after, add before, add last, and add first. So add operation basically allows me to, which I have which basically allows me to modify any data item. And yet again, but I have here used add first, which allows me here to add a new data item, and then accordingly we can proceed with the same syntax which we follow for page extensions. We can add the trigger, we can add the code for the triggers, we can add the request pages, and we can add request pages, we can add labels for it. So this code section of code is comprised for adding any new data item in the report which is already in the existing report. We can add a new data item. But yet again, what if we need to modify the data item which is already in the report itself? So this is one example I would like to share. This add operation has the capability to add any columns to the data item. So here the data item I already have, this is an item price list report, which obviously has the data item as item. And then I am adding a rib column which is the net weight, and I have modified for the modifications here. I have used for the modify I have used a trigger. To know about the triggers itself, I like to show what we have in the triggers. So we have basically six triggers for each of the record and also for the data item. Here for the code itself, I have used for on, before, after, get, record. And here I have, this piece of code is simply where it will allow me to there's a I have taken a request page. This request page has a field here which there's a this is the boolean field which allows me and just show my the weight of the item in pounds. If I've enabled it, the boolean value is true, then obviously my weight will be doubled. And if not, if this boolean value is not yet it is disabled, then obviously the what the weight of the item that would be shown. So here, if I say about the labels, if we talk about the labels, I have mentioned a new label here, and this label I have also added in my report data set. Obviously, if I'm mentioning here, everything would be fetched out to the data set. This is basically I have prepared the data set, right? As we all know, the report needs to have the data set. So this is my data set which I have prepared. And now if I go back to the report layout. So here, if I see in my data set, obviously I have added two things in my data set. One is the label, which would be saying net weight, and obviously the value that will hold. So here, if I come back in the data set, this is the net weight, which is one field. If I say this is this is the column basically. So this is the column which I have added. This is in my data set, right? And then we'll go to the label, and if I see the label, so we have the label right here, which says net weight label, and yeah, this holds the value for net weight. So let's see how this works. I have just added here the parameter for the label, and then I have added here in the expression for the net weight value. So let's see how it goes, and yeah, I'll just publish it. So as you can see here, obviously, yes, I missed to mention this out. The RDLC layout. Now in repose extension, either you can use a word layout or a RDLC layout. Each you cannot use both, one of it. And I have given the name sales price list extended. This has been added, and this is being shown here. Okay, and let's see how it goes. I'll run the report from here. So yeah, the request page, I have added what the request page talks about, this boolean flag, which is basically the weight in pounds. So here the weight in pounds, I'll just show it I'll flag it on, and then obviously the number, and let's preview. So you see it. The net weight is 69.2, and if at all we want that the original weight, basically this has been multiplied into 2, obviously. So we'll just come back here again to recheck, obviously. Yeah, this flag is disabled, and we print it. So the earlier weight, when the flag was disabled, is 34.6, and yes, after the flag is enabled in this report extension, the amount comes out to be the multiplied. Coming back to my report extension, I would also like to mention some few points in this report extension that would be all about inside the using the on init report triggered. For now, on init report trigger is not supported by Microsoft in report for report extensions, but for and if we talk about on pre and on post reports, these two will be get triggered after the original report equivalent trigger. So yeah, if you have these, if you have the code in here, anything in your report extensions, this will only be followed after your original report, as in what here I have the item price list. If I see, so these will be following the first. Even here, what I'm just giving a gist about it is that if we have the report extensions, we any report we are extending, those triggers in the original report will be triggered first, and then in your report extensions. So this sums up with my demo. So this is one screen, and this is one page I would talk about working with. For me, if you ask me, working with reports will be has become a little more easy now. But at least I would, yes, say at least the duplication of data sets and so many maintenance on different reports have been avoided. But then, is the report extension objects perfect now? Definitely not. We'll see how. So there we have the limitations. And of course, if you have questions here in with my demo, please be free to ask. I will be happily replying to them in the chat box. Limitations. If you talk about the limitations, I would talk about the automatic update. So what if we have report extensions already there, and we have deleted the fields, we have duplicate names in the reports? How will the automatic update for that report will work? How will it handle? Obviously the automatic update would not be able to handle these changes which we have done in the report data set. If I talk about the duplicate field names in the report layout after the field has been renamed, I believe this should be treated as a design error. An upgrade scenario where there are multiple iterations of reports layout that causes multiple rename action on the same fields and labels or the data items. I would say if the upgrade process detects any of these issue listed on my screen here, the update will not be applied, right? We'll have to fix them manually, or for example by editing the report layout in Word, or by using the upgrade code units. Yes, for but then again, this would be a tedious job, right? And then again, which Microsoft has recently where there's a thumbnail which Microsoft has mentioned that we cannot extend the report layouts. There is no, or we don't have that extensibility model till now for reporting. But let's see in major releases or major upcoming scenarios where they can release this or not. And yes, of course, technically challenging. I, as a developer, I am saying this, but yes, how I'll mention it. But yes, it is technically challenging to use report extensions. So let's speak about, there's a scenario like I have mentioned here. We have same report in This basically, this idea or this questions was also this was spoken up in Microsoft, one of the office hours call, where they spoke about if we have the same report and in two different extensions, where they talk about the report, and the report extension y is dependent on report extension x, right? So how would be, and it is dependent, so that means the triggers in report extension x would run at first, and the triggers for report extension y would be running after that. This is when we have the dependency. And now what if we don't have the dependency order? We really don't have the dependency order, then what? We'll be able to achieve that. So this is one thing which Microsoft will come up to, and they will speak about in major releases, major release, or in the minor update. But that I'm looking forward to it. If you guys have any thoughts over this, please feel free to let me know. How would we be achieving this dependency order if you don't have the dependency? How each report extension would be following it? So yeah, please be open, and I would really like to see your thoughts behind it too. Coming to the best of the summarizing my session for today, and the best thing which everybody needs to look upon after this session, there are things to remember as a developer. There are things we need to keep in mind working with report extension. Yes, this has come up recently, but we have to keep some things in mind so that we cannot lose these changes we are doing in report extensions. So yeah, for the first follow up here is, for a report to be extension, the extensible property must be true. Yes, this should be true. And then the second point, make sure you have the runtime version set to 7.2 or the highest, which I also spoke about in my early start in the demo. I showed to show it to all. And then the report extension can only have this, also I mentioned it, only have one layout defined, means one RDLC, or we have the report layout. And then the report layout, which I talk about, this is one of the limitations. Of course, the report layout of an existing layout, the existing report cannot be extended, it can be only substituted. And inside the request page element, many of us are looking forward, I am basically looking forward that Microsoft comes up with this uh, property where you can modify the request pages property, right? But they don't have, so we need to keep that in mind too. And then of course, using the on init report trigger is not supported yet in extensions. And if I talk about the on-pre, which made you show in my demo as well, these two triggers would be triggered. These triggers would be triggered after our original report trigger. So this thing we really need to follow up. So this sums up my session for today. I hope all of you have followed this, and this is, of course, this is my first as a speaker. I am speaking here at this great community, DynamicsCon, and I would really thank them for giving me this opportunity. Until now, I was very unsure that I would get votes for this report extensions. I personally have used report extensions till now, and I'm looking forward to it, that how and what more changes and what more minor changes or big changes Microsoft would look into. Because I believe report extensions or reporting is the major backbone of any ERP, right? Any ERP, because you need reporting. No company, no organization can work without reporting. They need the reporting. They need reporting for finances. They need reporting for a lot of things. So yeah, this is one more thing. And as a developer, I would say that, be it a small change, be it a large change, be it a big change, we need to follow, we need to have that flexibility to not do that cumbersome job that we used to branch every report. Technically it is time consuming, it takes a lot of time. So yeah, we have this report extension now, So let's see. And obviously, I would be great if I have feedbacks. You can reach to me. I'm here on LinkedIn as well. You can reach me out here. We can share ideas. We can brainstorm that how report extension will work all together in the changes moving further in future. So yeah, thank you so much. Don't be feel free to put your comments, to put your to ask questions in the chat box below. And yeah, looking forward to it. That's great. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for voting this session basically. And that's all because I'm here. Thank you everybody. Thank you.
So, you want to share something, or should I jump into the questions?
So we have three questions right now, right?
Okay, so the first question is from Adrian, and he says, "Great tip. I have never used this event to substitute report." And yeah, I just wanted to get some clarity on this one. So you don't need to use, or do you need to use substitute report when you're using report extensions?
So basically, you need to use, as in the report substitute, if you are creating, if you are creating a new report, if you're creating a new report and you want to switch the base report, right? You want to switch the base report with your custom report. That basically means that you are substituting it,
Okay,
right? Yeah. So that is how you are using the substitution of the report thing.
yeah, that makes
Yep.
sense. The next question that I have is indentation of data item automatically handled, or do we need to take care of indentation in report extension?
So, if I talk about the indentation is basically like linking of the data item, right? So, if you have the data item linked, and so there are when you are linking it, so there are two things which are majorly need to you need to have that for linking the data item, add and first. So you use that, but for indentation, it is being automatically majorly handled, right? So yeah, and I need to more need inputs over, I need to read on the indentation part. Really have not worked, but I believe that yeah, you can this is taking care automatically.
Yeah, and if I understand it correctly, the only things that are possible to add a new data item is either at the beginning, which is using add first,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
either at the end using add last.
yeah,
Now,
definitely.
in both of those scenarios, there is no need of indentation. It will already be indented either at the whatever the default
Yes,
indentation is there, right?
yes, yes, definitely.
Okay, the next question is, as you say that extension can have one layout defined, so is that compulsory? If yes, that means that we can't use base report if report extension is created.
So I'll say for so there are two basically, two ways you can use the layout. One is the RDLC and the word layout. So yes, if it that means we have to use one of them in the report extensions. So then the we cannot use the base layout, and that means that obviously you cannot use the base layout. Sorry, you have to use the base layout in that sense, like when you have the report extension created, because right now we don't have that facility of changing the layout. We cannot extend the layout, we can only extend the report data set, right?
So if I understood the question correctly, the question was around if there is a requirement where I don't want to change the design, but I
Mm-hmm.
only want to change the code. Can I do it using report extension where I don't
Yes,
create an additional layout, but just create a report extension to add some code so that my custom code executes?
definitely you can do it, definitely you can do it.
So a report extension not mandatorily needs a layout, but you can max have one layout if I understood correctly from your session.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, then the next question is, how will I hide base report from search?
Sorry, can you read the question
uh,
again?
how how will I hide base report from search?
How will I hide
And
the? Yeah,
base
by.
report from search. And do you have to? Because if you are using report extension, then you are actually including your changes into the base report. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is what. That is what. Yep.
So you don't have to hide your base reports because all the changes that you're doing from report extension are already part of the base report.
Exactly.
And if you are creating a separate report, let's
Mm-hmm.
say for invoice you are creating a 50,000 report, then you can
Mm-hmm.
use report substitute so that when user clicks on that report from the search, it actually runs your report, not the base Microsoft report.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't think you need to have, you will never need to hide the report, right?
Yeah. Basically, yes. Yep. Yep.
Okay, so the next question is from Jason. And Jason says, can you confirm what would happen if two extensions substitute the base report? Which comes first? Is only one substitution done?
So I would come to this point of two extensions. I mentioned in my demo session right now that this extension part, even Microsoft is coming up to the extension that if you have the dependencies between the extensions, or there is no dependency, then how will the report run, right? How will one after the other, so basically if you have two extensions and there is a dependency, and which one would run before or the after. So this is one thing which I also am wondering myself, that what will this happen. I need to dig in more. Maybe I'll write a blog later about this. So yeah, I'll come to that, or we can connect in the in the virtual watch parties. We can discuss this thing there.
And I'll take a wild guess. And again, this
Mhm.
is a completely wild guess about this. But if, and you can relate it to a situation where same event is subscribed by two extensions from the base Microsoft.
Okay.
Now, in that case, the code, and I can be completely wrong here, the code will run from both the extension, which is defined in the report extension, but
Hmm.
the layout that will be visible is based on whatever your settings are in custom report layouts. So, when you have two extension, let's say for sales invoice report, there is an extension from Tanya, and then there is an extension from Saurav.
Hmm.
In the custom report selection, you can define which layout you want from Tanya's one, from Microsoft, or from Saurav's. I'm just taking a guess over there, but I'm thinking that this is how it will be working. I'm hoping that. But yeah, that's a good topic to, I guess, maybe
Yeah,
search
that
about.
is yeah, that is one good topic to dig into, that which one will run after which. Yeah. So, but in that case, both the reports are.
Okay. But in that case, both reports are visible in search, but maybe you want to hide the original because the
It
original
just.
report looks bad. And maybe I need some clarity on why you want to hide it, right? Because I, if you are creating like in the another question where it says the base report is bad, then you are actually creating 50,000 report, which you can replace using the report substitution, right?
But sir, let's see if so okay, that's a good one, that you want to hide the because of that bad one. So it recently like happened with me also. I have one of the clients which were, so we had one custom report and when we had a base report.
Right.
Right, we had one base report and we have the custom report. So the only difference, so let's say it was an inventory valuation report, right? So the only difference was on the label. One was the inventory valuation, which was the base report, and one was mo hyphen inventory valuation, or you can just, it was just a difference of mo. So what does the custom, so there are end users which don't know, or mistakenly they click on that and some things happen like that, so they run it,
Okay.
right? So they run it, so say they run it just like that and they don't know. So maybe there can be one reason they want to hide it, like we want to hide this thing, we don't want that report to be run. So yeah.
But if you have created a 50,000 report for a base report,
Mm-hmm.
any report, let's say aging report, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you use report substitution, and
Right.
when somebody search for the aging report and he clicks on it, it'll actually run your report, it'll not run the Microsoft report. Is that the correct statement?
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still a little bit confused about why you want to hide. As in how to hide, it's a repeated question in the chat, but until unless it's in the menu on a page, you can't hide it, because if it's just added in the property of the report to be visible, then
Mm-hmm.
it's impossible to hide that report,
Okay. Okay.
right? If there's a base
Right.
Microsoft report where it says the application area, let's say it's all and uses categories, reports, and analysis, then that report will be visible, whatever it's, you know, whenever user tries to search for it.
Okay.
Okay, I don't see any other question. Okay, one more question from Jason. Hiding, just turn that mindset around and call it a feature of tell me. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, Tanya, I don't see any other questions. Do you
Yeah.
want to clarify any other question that was asked
No.
previously?
Yeah, anybody who wants to, there are still more questions, please be free to ask. I'm there in the virtual party there, and we can connect there as well. So yeah, thank you, and thank you.
There is one
Yeah.
more, I guess. Why not control who sees and runs the report through security rather than hiding it? That's just a suggestion. Yes,
Okay,
that's
just a
something that you
second.
can control. Okay.
Yeah.
Any last words before we end this?
No, I don't see anyone coming up with the questions, but that's great. Thank you, everyone. As in, I'll. Okay.
One more question. Any information if Microsoft will upgrade the capabilities of report extension?
Yeah,
Do you
they
know any
have.
future plans on it?
They have, but there is no particular date. There is no particular date they'll come up with report extension. They other capabilities. Maybe there are thousand, because there are people are still posting on the ideas, the business central ideas, but there's no formal date they have given that. About the capabilities, but let's see. Even I am waiting eagerly to come up with more report extensions,
That sounds
capability.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that means that more we'll see more into report
Yeah,
extension
definitely
capabilities.
we'll be seeing more of, because I really like this part of Microsoft, that it takes the feedback of, it takes the feedback of every other concerned person. Or we have business central ideas platform where they everybody comes up and posts everything. So yeah, this is a great platform that, and Microsoft is appreciating. That's a good thing. Yep.
Okay, so thanks, Tanya, for presenting
Thank
for the
you
first
so
time. It
much.
was a great topic.
Yeah,
And
thank
thank
you
you,
so much.
everyone who was listening, and great questions, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.